Hello, friends, and welcome to today's live level up conversation. Happy Tuesday. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. A big welcome back to my creative director, Curtis Peak 2. Amazing to have you back, my friend. Happy Tuesday. Let's dive right in.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hi, friends. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes and CNBC contributor, and a CNBC council member. And we are streaming here live. And it's starting to be good because let me just tell you, as soon as we started going live, the market also started to go into the green. It actually was kind of mixed, but currently the Dow is up in the positive, barely over 2 points, almost 3 points. The Nasdaq's up 37 points right now. The S&P 500 is also up 9 points. We'll take it. Positive is positive, right? So we are streaming here live, like I mentioned. So definitely take a moment, jump in, introduce yourself. Let me know how your weekend went, how your Monday went. I'm so grateful to be spending today with you. Well, let's just say the stock market has been pretty steady most of today so far because we're kind of in a wait and hold period, if you will. The Dow had a somewhat positive day. Nasdaq's doing a little bit better, but investors, by and large, are sort of in this wait and see mode. In fact, we're also paying very close attention to some of the words that came out of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's mouth last week. And so we're sort of cautiously positive. In fact, a lot of people are expecting a rate cut next month of about 25 basis points on the upcoming Fed meeting in mid September. Now, it's funny that analysts would think that because what would he do instead? I mean, most rate cuts or rate increases have been in like 25, 50 basis points. You haven't really seen different percentages. So, like, not a big surprise there. But let's share some news that's happening all over the world in terms of financial news. And this one I want to share with you because this is actually a big one. For those of you who are traveling, I'm sure you would agree that traveling today isn't quite like traveling it was 10 years ago, right? Well, we didn't have to deal with TSA, we didn't have to deal with all those other things and Boeing issues and doors flying off planes and like taking off your shoes and all that crazy stressful stuff that has to do with flying. Well, now it seems like there's this new trend of also getting travel havoc by cyber attacks. In fact, the Seattle Tacoma airport is facing ongoing disruptions today because of a cyber attack. Now, this is shared recently in the news, of course, by Madeline Ottilie, I believe. So the Seattle-based airport continues to struggle because a suspected cyber attack that began actually over this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, left a lot of their key systems still offline. And so now this is a little bit better than the news that came about just last month, where like major airlines such as Delta and American, a lot of big airlines were impacted by the cyber attack. Well, in this particular case, international flights and those flights which are operated by some of the smaller airline carriers, such as Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines, Country, were some of the most impacted airlines. In fact, these airlines rely heavily, and then they were definitely compromised in their airport systems. Now, one system that I think you and I would agree on that you really don't want things to happen wrong with, I mean, in addition to being in the air and all those security measures and your safety, but in terms of ticketing and everything, one major problem that they have and they continue to have is in the area of baggage sorting. Yes. So typically, I didn't know this, but I guess with baggage sorting, a lot of that has to do with technology. But now, because of this cyber attack, now airlines are having to manually transport checked luggage to their respective gates, which has in fact led to significant delays. So travelers, especially those who are flying internationally or with these smaller airlines, are now being advised to arrive at the airport at least 3+ hours before departure. Additionally, those who are thinking about checking bags, well, the airlines are actually recommending that you just carry on your luggage rather than checking bags to avoid more complications with TSA regulations. And officials are still really investigating whether any sensitive data was accessed during this cyber attack, and they're evaluating how the breach was even occurred. So the airport now has deployed additional team members to the various terminals to assist passengers, and travelers are able to seek help from workers in what they say these green vested employees stationed throughout the airport. But yeah, just hearing that makes me like, oh, that's so stressful having to like go back to travel anytime soon. This is also why my husband prefers to drive everywhere. But let's be honest, like you can't exactly drive to Hawaii, right? You can't drive to Europe. You just gotta pass quite a bit of ocean. It's just not as efficient. But nonetheless, if you're stuck, if you can't get your luggage, if you have to get to the airport 3+ hours ahead, maybe driving is the way to go. I don't know. Well, speaking of changes, let's talk about another big one in a technology company. And this you may have seen, this was announced this week about Apple announcing that they're going to be switching out their chief financial officer, their CFO. So they are having an existing employee. In fact, this was shared this week on multiple financial platforms that this week Luca Masturi is going to step down as CFO on January 1st of 2024, and he's going to be succeeded by another longtime Apple employee who is current VP of Financial Planning and Analysis. Didn't know that Apple had a VP of Financial Planning. I mean, anyhow, nonetheless, stepping down as CFO, Luca is now going to continue to oversee teams, focus on information technology, security, and other elements within Apple, including real estate development. Now, he did become CFO in 2014, played a very pivotal role, in fact, of Apple's financial growth, but now is going to make that shift, which I think is kind of a refreshing story. So often you hear about executives, C-level executives going from one company to jumping to another company. In this particular case, he's going to just move to a different role within the same company, and somebody else within the same company is now moving up to his role. So I thought that was pretty nice, a shift. But yes, best of luck to both of them. Hope it goes smoothly for them. And speaking of Apple, I wanted to put this on your radar as well. For those of you who are joining me, maybe on your iPhone, maybe on your iPad, maybe on your MacBook, well, Apple is announcing the iPhone 16 event. And this is actually going to be very, very soon. This was announced, of course, by 9 to 5 Mac by Chance Miller. This event is going to be taking place on September 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern, depending on where you're going to be watching the live stream from. But as you know, for those of you who have paid attention to these in the past, Apple events are always really fun. They do a great job. It's a nice production. You can jump in, you can watch it live, you can watch it on replay. But there, some of the things that we're expecting to see from the Apple event that people are excited about is the launch of the new A18 chip with an 8 gigabyte RAM, an action button, and a capture button for the camera app. That's cool. I love to see when they make advancements to the camera because let's be honest, like most of us don't like having to carry a second camera, and our phone is our everything, right? And so now they're going to have a even more compact camera bump, they're saying, and they're going to be releasing brand new colors. I'm curious to see how you feel about these. There's going to be blue, green, pink as well, and white and black, of course. The Pro models are going to be introducing the new A18 Pro chip. And they're saying that with larger displays at 6.3 inches and 6.9 inches, you're also going to have a 5-time camera zoom, which is cool, and titanium color variants. And then, of course, there's rumors that there's going to be updates to the new Apple Watch as well. And that, I guess, would be the Apple Watch Series 10. They're saying that the new Apple Watch is probably going to be thinner, larger, and going to have improved health provisions or health gizmos and gadgets to it, more health sensors and performance boosts and things like that. And then, of course, with Apple's announcing the release for the new iOS 18, um, they're saying, the iPad OS is coming out, TV OS is coming out. So similar to previous years, they're going to be combining in this announcement not only in-person press interactions, but also sort of that global virtual experience. And I don't know about you if you've ever seen one of the Apple events, but they kind of remind me of a similar. Just recently, I had a chance to go to Disneyland with my kids, and if you've ever watched or been on the ride Soaring across America, it kind of reminds me of that. The Apple event kind of takes you different points, right? Different places, talks about a new piece of gear and the new features, and then it takes you to different parts of the country. I'm hoping to see more of that because I do think it's a very interactive experience, and it's a great way of showing how companies can take a virtual event and really elevate that experience. So it's definitely not lackluster, it's definitely not boring, and I would even argue it actually might be more fun to watch it virtually than even in person. But that's just me. Curious to see how you feel about that. So definitely put it in comments and let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, similar to last year, so they're going to be doing that sort of hybrid experience. All right, speaking of hybrid experience, let's continue on to my next story. I want to talk about prices of things. I want to talk about inflation, especially since we just talked about how the Federal Reserve is expected to hopefully, possibly make a quarter of a cut to the interest rates next month, middle of September. I don't know if that's going to happen. We're hoping that's going to happen. Well, let's talk about home prices. Now, many of you have written in and expressed your frustration with not only interest rates that we're seeing because of inflation, right? But also where the rates have been. But you've also expressed frustration with mortgage rates and the price of real estate and how young people today, millennials, Gen Zers, are really being priced out of a lot of different markets. So does that mean you're gonna have to be living in the boonies where there's like not much going on? Or does it mean there's hope for you? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So, US home prices now have hit a record high level in June of 2024. This is according to a recent report coming from Diana Olick, which was shared. The S&P 500 Core Logic Case-Shiller US National Home Price Index has showed that year over year, there's been a bump of 5.4% increase in June of 2024, which has reached now the highest level ever. Now, to give you an idea of some of the places that led this, some of them aren't going to be a big surprise to you, but some of them might be. So, some of the top performing cities in terms of raising rates have been, of course, New York, right? New York, very expensive real estate, not a lot of space, which makes it that much more valuable. Saw a 9% annual increase in New York, followed by San Diego. San Diego increased by 8.7%. Las Vegas, the desert, but let's just be honest, a lot of people really love to go visit that desert, rose by 8.5%. And give you an idea, Portland, Oregon, unfortunately didn't see as much of a gain, seeing the smallest gain of just 0.8%. So the report did talk about many cities, lower tier home prices. So, for example, New York's lower tier homes actually outpaced higher tier ones by nearly 20% over the last 5 years, which just goes to show you, you don't necessarily need to be in the best neighborhood to have the potential of your market price of your homes appreciating. Maybe not a normal situation, but certainly I'm sure has benefited those who live in those lesser expensive areas of New York. And now, despite rising mortgage rates, though, home prices have continued to climb. So the 30-year mortgage rate even reached over 7.5% in June. But of course, it started to fall and it's now hovering around the 6% range. But seasonal factors, of course, could lead to slight price easing in the fall. But overall, we're still expecting prices to be higher than they were last year, with many people who have been sitting on the sidelines, hoping for significant reductions in price and, of course, in mortgage rates. Hopefully, if we see the Fed decrease rates next month, that will in fact impact more so on mortgage price as well. Now, on that note, I wanted to share another story because I feel like it ties right into our previous story. Is talking about, all right, supposedly I've been on the sidelines. Supposedly I still want to buy a home. I'm getting a little desperate, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's you. And I just want to get myself in a house. I'm flexible in terms of location. I'm flexible where I want to live, but I just want to own something. Where would be some of the most, you know, where would I get the most bang for my buck? So I want to talk about this news story about 10 US housing markets where buyers have the most power right now as it pertains to buying a new home. And this is shared by Celia Fernandez. Okay. Well, so let's share some of the most buyer friendly markets. According to realtor.com, there's actually 10 housing markets where buyers currently have the most leverage. And one of those cities might surprise you. Well, first off, number one ranked is the one and only in Texas, with a median home price of $253,500 and a 55 median days on the market. That means a property has been sitting on the market for a median of 55 days. It's not Austin, Texas. It's not Dallas, not San Antonio, nothing like that. But Lubbock, Texas is where you probably get quite a bit of bang for your buck. Now, whether you want to move to Lubbock, Texas or not, that is for you to decide. But Lubbock, Texas ranks number one. Now, the second place is going to be Punta Gorda, Florida, where the median home price is $425,000. But get this, houses typically stay on market in Punta Gorda for 90 days. So the city is seeing price corrections after the pandemic boom for sure. Now, other cities in Florida with buyers also have more power, not just, I mean, seeing quite a bit of options. We're also including Tampa here, Miami, and even Orlando, Lakeland too. So these markets are characterized by sort of a slowdown in competition and price reductions as supply now outpaces demand. Now, buyers in these areas are going to enjoy that they're going to be able to expect longer market times, and they're going to have more opportunities to negotiate better deals on purchasing of these homes as well. And so economists are saying that these markets previously actually had saw rapid growth during the pandemic, but now that things are stabilizing, now there's more favorable conditions for those of you who are buyers or sitting on the sideline looking to add to your real estate portfolio. So do your research. So whatever you do, make sure you work with an expert, a very experienced real estate professional, because having come from my family has been in real estate for many many years, and I remember my mom, my dad always saying location, location, location. So make sure wherever you're buying, don't just buy it because it's cheap. Make sure location works for you, not only today but long term as well. All right, I want to share another story because we're talking about all things money. We're talking all things like making good financial decisions and where you can stretch your dollars and making sure, of course, that you are able to retain more of your money. These sort of stories help. And they give you some guidance and exposure to opportunities that perhaps that you need to buy something in your life and stretch your budget, something for your household. Today, I want to share a story because Consumer Reports has unveiled their top 10 used car brands and models for 2024. This is being shared by Jamie LaRue. And some of the top brand rankings, I'm guessing, aren't going to be completely surprising to you. But for used cars, this is where you're seeing value. Lexus, Toyota led Consumer Reports' first ever used car brand ranking. Of course, they're known for reliability, right? Their consistent reliability across many of their models. And then they were followed by Mazda, Acura, Honda, Ford, GM, Ram, Jeep, even Tesla made the list, Dodge, and Chrysler made their list as well. So Consumer Reports says that they want to emphasize brands like Lexus and Toyota because they want to make sure that they prioritize when it comes to used cars, incremental improvements over sort of instead of just like really exciting designs, they want to talk about reliability. And so they want to give you options, especially if you're not the type of person that changes cars all the time. I'm definitely that person. I know a lot of my clients and my good friends that are really car people, and that's great. And so they like to change cars maybe every 3 years. Many of them lease their vehicles. But then if you're like me, where you're like, okay, I love a nice car, but I also really like the reliability of getting from point A to point B without deploying all my household budget. I'm looking for a car that I can buy, even buy used, right? And hold on to for a long time because I know that it's a depreciation asset. So I don't really need to have the latest and greatest and the most expensive car. So if you're in that camp, like I am, then this report is really important to you because the top 10 used cars under $20,000, believe it or not, include the 2020 Buick Envision, the 2017 Chevy Cruze, that's for the small sedans, like even less than $10,000, you're saying. And also for hybrid, if you're looking for hybrid small sedan, the 2021 Toyota Corolla Hybrid, they say, is a winner. And the hybrid SUV, the 2018 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. And if you're looking for a pickup because you want to move things around, the 2015 Toyota Tacoma is your pick as well. Now they're saying that Toyota Mazda definitely dominated the list, which just goes to show you that they have a very strong reputation for reliability, but also for value of what you spend. Now, the rankings now are based on the reliability of 5 to 10-year-old vehicles, and they also did a survey of about 150 different vehicles from the 2014 to 2019 model years. In fact, my car falls right in there, and my car has been showing somewhere, but I'm still happy with it, right? And most importantly, it's not costing me that much to own it anymore, which is nice. So Consumer Reports is now focused on these things. I think that's really helpful now, especially given it's also about sustainability. It's about making the most of your budget. And with inflation becoming so high, impacting like the cost of groceries and the cost of housing and everything else, it's nice that we have a gauge of deciding if we decide to pick a more affordable option for our car, buying a used car, right? What our options would be. So if you're in the in the market for a new set of wheels, new car, um, whether it be a new car or a used car, I think you should take a look at this list because I do think we know this to be true. As soon as you buy a new car, you drive it off the lot, it's already worth less, right? So why not let somebody else take that first initial burden and then buy a used car. And hopefully you can buy something that you're happy with. I mean, if you can get some sort of warranty program on it or some service program, that'd be really good. But yeah, but buyers are definitely encouraged, of course, to consider other models as well within the same generation as the top picks. But you wouldn't want to do your research and, of course, take your time, look things through, and make sure it's a decision that you're happy with, not only today, but into the future as well. And with that, I'm going to just say that my suggestion always, if you're going to buy a used car, is to take it to the shop and has a true experienced mechanic. Take a look at it to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. And with that, let's see what the market's doing. Currently, the Dow is up 2.5 points, not much more than what we started with. Nasdaq's up 29 points currently. S&P 500 also up just 7, 8 points, not huge. So far the market's going to be closing in about 20 some minutes here. Probably going to be pretty flat day, but nonetheless, the week is still early, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we see more important business and financial changes and news. With that, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate. Thanks so much for being part of the Level Up community. Hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest content, and to watch past full episodes of Level Up. You can check out NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, and many other streaming platforms. And of course, when sharing the show, make sure to tag at Winnie Sun to show your support. I can't tell you how much I thank you for doing so. And with that, I'll see you again this week. Take care. Be well. Bye bye now.